God and we controlled this whole 25,000 acre watershed, what would be the smart land use going forward? And this is sort of dry tropical forest. This is sort of floodplain where the river is. This is a mangrove system. Today, if you get back in time, you go up to the top of our house and you can see we have sort of a viewing deck that looks over this mangrove. The mangrove used to be all the way up into here. So the idea, what happens is the sedimentation, it seems to happen is you deforest, the sedimentation fills up the mangrove gets smaller and smaller. People sort of put...
Plus they encroached heavily with rice and with, I mean, they wiped out, this one guy wiped out 30 hectares of mangrove. How long ago was that, Will? 5 years ago. Just for cattle and now rice.
So you're not going to be able to control this, but what if you actually got in front of people who were buying these large parcels of land and worked with them to say, here's a smart way to use your land. You want to reforest, or you want to make money from wood? Okay, well, think about doing these contours. Think about catching more water. Essentially, if you want to grow teak, you're going to have more successful teak operations. So this whole mangrove thing, we haven't really worked it out yet, but ultimately, ideally, this expands. And one of the key connections here, here's the ocean. You saw the beach, the WWF work on the beach here. There's another group that's working on restoring the mangrove estuary here. So you get them to realize if you infiltrate water here, you're going to make a healthier mangrove down here. And so they become part of the whole system strategy. Forest canopy, current goals of a land use plan goal for how to systematic. Again, if we had a regulatory authority, what would we do? We don't, but we have these water boards. So how do we access these water boards to get them to support their ultimate goal, which is to continue to have quality local water?
And our once again, best case scenario is there is a provision under Costa Rica law for communities to develop their own land use management. And it takes a lot of legwork, and somebody has to go through a lot of meetings in order to accomplish that. But that would be rather than having it be administered by MINAI or something else, it's the community in conjunction with MINAI that actually administers it. Based on an enlightened grasp of what they're shooting for, which is being able to live here for a long time.
Would the communities doing the land use planning be delineated the same way that water boards are, or would it be like?
No, you set up a whole
totally different.
It's like what you're talking about in Montana. I think
right.
There's a governance process that it's going to be voluntary. People, but you have to sort of get them aware that there is a risk if you don't do this, that there's going to be collapse of the aquifer.
Right.
You collapse of the aquifer, or the development on the hill comes down into your town, which happened in Siete, and then Las Delicias. All the sediments from one development came down and wiped out their stream. Because people here still have a certain, okay, it might sound a little overdone to say, hunter-gatherer kind of thing. When there are crawdads in all the streams, people are out there getting them. And when the streams are viable, they understand that there used to be more fish, more crawdads, more everything, and so it doesn't take a lot of push to get the idea across. What they tend to be is more fatalistic. They don't tend to feel empowered to take control of their destiny because they've been run over, from time immemorial. Somebody comes in with a lot of and connections in San Jose, and they can get a development on a hillside that's going to school.
You've heard of Oscar Arias? Current president of Costa Rica, Nobel Peace Prize. It seems that he's part of this development that really is a bad development here.
Really bad.
He's an
But
investor.
what I don't understand is why they got shut down by MINAI and keep going. That's why he's got.
Anyway, so this is Tierra Pacifica where we are. This is Pura Jungla, another conservation development. We'll take a quick walk over here. Tom's doing what could be the epitome of the best kind of design development, which is you think totally about what's going to do to restore the forest, to hold on to the water, and then you think about how you put lots in support of that. And the development here is going to be at a lower cost, therefore Costa Ricans can become part of the system. So ultimately, you know, if you have 10 of these in strategic locations around the watershed, you essentially are, Steve Applebaum was saying, if we had 15 or 20% of the watershed restored in strategic places, you're going to be able to get the river to flow again. I mean, that's conceptual, but that's sort of the goal. Remember I was telling you where we always used to have the beach house? That's the view from the beach house.
That is a nice
So-
design.
Beach are hard out.
Yeah, and so development is happening, blah, blah, blah. This is sort of the old, so this is this woman, the matriarch of the watershed, reminding us in a festival about the watershed, the way it was. This is the Nandomojo at a low point. This is that land I was telling you across the way. You have more or less a healthy dry tropical forest. Then you have where cattle graze. Then you have the planting of teak. It's not really doing very well. What teak does is it sort of has a herbicidal effect on everything underneath it. So no other kind of understory can grow. So we didn't go to Tierra Pacifica. The backside of Tierra Pacifica, I told you, was our organic farm.
Yeah.
This is an area where about a quarter or a half of the development drains through this neck. Here's Tom and Elias thinking about what can we do in this place to do what he's done here and create an agriculture that could feed this development. So we built chinampas using vetiver to hold the ground in, so we built these bumps. We had these low planting areas. This is the wet season, the low areas fill in with water, capture sedimentation. You have your perennial plants on the borders. Ultimately the water evaporates, and then you have your planting area. So what Tom has got here, we've got a much expanded version to do more of a commercial scale thing. This goes into, this is the edge of Tierra Pacifica. This is the mangrove system I talked to you about. This is a key piece of land that we actually did a conservation development proposal for because the family was going to sell it. So how do you do a little development and a lot of restoration? So the 30 acres, the 30 hectares, Tom, this is the 30 hectares that was burnt out of the mangrove. How do we restore all that to mangrove as part of the development process? So that's sort of thinking about the system. Now we're back here, festival, there we go.
Thanks.
Quickly.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to, that was 2 years ago we did that, but what we're really doing now is we're working with some people to A, create a 501c3 umbrella for the whole project, B, get sophisticated international development, fundraising, and project development. So can this thing that you've been working on here become a model for, there's hundreds of these watersheds up and down the Pacific coast of Latin America. So how do you create a governance mechanism, a policy development framework, a financing mechanism,
And
land use strategy?
And also certain techniques that
Yeah,
we've managed to come up with.
and techniques, because not just do it, oh great, now we're doing a good job, but we actually can make money. There's a way either to reclaim land that otherwise couldn't be developed because you're controlling erosion, or you're actually finding a way to increase fertility, biochar, chinampas, to produce commercial crops on it. So why don't we take a quick walk and then we'll get you back on the beach road.